Alright, so let's move into the CGI cluster of disaster that is episode 2.
Yes.
Which, episode 1, after seeing it, got excited. Saw episode 2 in theaters, and I kind of had this reaction of, what did I just watch?
Yeah.
I don't know if I love it or hate it.
Right. I think that episode 2 is my least favorite out of any Star Wars, out of the entire Skywalker saga.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that bad. It's just, like I said, the whole writing can be a little weird. Hayden Christensen is an okay Anakin, but once you watch the Clone Wars and you hear that guy do Anakin, and then you go back to 3 and you're like, damn it, why is it not that guy? You know, I don't want Hayden. You know?
Yeah. But I was also going to say the pacing on episode 2 was way, way off. It was like, 1,000,000 miles a minute, stop dead. 1,000,000 miles a minute, stop dead.
Right.
Which is, I know we discussed that with Last Jedi, that it was a similar reason why I didn't really like Canto, but I was like, action, 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 really, really draw back and almost whiplash us into a slow part.
Right.
Where it's like, okay, come on, give us something. Give us some sort of action, or at least something decent, but...
Right.
Like, the love scene on Naboo is...
Yeah.
No, just every second of that is just cringe-worthy.
Well, here's the thing. When you watch Anakin and Padme in episode 2, I don't buy the relationship in the beginning, because it's like, you know, she's like, Annie? And he's like, you know, Hayden's acting is just really, like, wooden and stale and just kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like he wants to bone her, like, you know, and who doesn't? But when he looks at her, it's just like, you look at her and it's like, oh my god, dude, why are you giving her creeper face, you know?
Oh, that's
it's just weird.
That's just gonna be a meme somewhere later.
Yeah.
Anakin's creep face.
But,
way to go, man.
Yeah, thanks. Maybe I'll be famous on the internet now.
Oh, I hope. Woo!
Yeah. But again, the Naboo scene where there's like that beautiful waterfall and Anakin's like running on that termite thing. That scene, I bought the relationship because he was laughing and they were having fun and they were rolling. And I know it's a little cheesy that they're rolling around in the grass, but you know, it's better than just talking about politics and arguing. They were actually having fun.
Yeah.
And that was the first moment when I went, okay, I could see these two being together, you know?
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
And then, you know, and then now here's the big thing, the sand line. What do you think about the sand line?
Sand. I'm drawing a blank on what that is for once.
Yeah, so it's where Anakin and Padme is essentially talking about how she loves Naboo, and how when she was a little girl, she swam in the ocean. And she loved
the sand line. Oh, God.
Yeah. And then,
I don't like sand. It gets every...
Right.
Who wrote that?
I don't know.
Who thought that was a brilliant idea?
I don't know, but here's the thing. Upon rewatching, now you can disagree, and the whole internet can disagree, but I don't hate that line. I don't love the line, but I think a lot of people, you know how it's become like a meme in the past few years?
Oh, yeah.
I think they take it out of context, because if you actually watch the scene, like I was saying, Padme talks about how much she loves Naboo, her home planet, and then on the contrary, you have this, you know, you have Anakin saying that he does not like his home world of Tatooine, you know. He doesn't like sand, and he even mentions it in the Clone Wars movie. You know, the sand is ruthless, the heat takes everything from you. And that's kind of like a metaphor of Anakin saying that the sand gets everywhere in his life, not, you know, everywhere in his body, but everywhere in, you know, his metaphorical life, saying that, you know, Padme could be taken by the sand. His mom got taken by the sand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Ahsoka didn't leave him yet, but I think that line really makes sense when you watch, you know, because like I said, you have Padme loving it, and then you have Anakin hating it. And it's these two forces that kind of bring these characters together. And it's a little bit corny, but I think that's what he was trying to go for. He was trying to go for something metaphorical. And it just didn't work, but I can see what he was going for.
Alright, let's also go into the look of Obi-Wan for episode 2, the mullet. Not a fan of it. It does not... That is still a really good impersonation. But, yeah, he looks like he's trying to be Jesus Christ more than he's trying to be a Jedi in that sense.
Yeah. Now that you mention that, he does look like Jesus, and it's a kind of... It's not bad, because, you know, I don't want to get into too much into religion here, but, I mean, if you look like Jesus, it's not too bad, but he doesn't look like Obi-Wan so to speak, you know?
No. It looks like an awkward phase.
Mm-hmm. He woke up as a moody team, and he's like, why did I let this guy do my hair?
How did you learn to do that? Just going off topic for a split second.
Just practice. If you saw my Force Unleashed 2, you know, when I talk like this British accent, I just went a little bit higher, you know. So, I don't know.
I'm going to have to
what
do
it is.
that. But
Yeah.
let's jump into another character, Jango and Boba Fett.
Yeah, Jango, okay. The fight between Jango and Obi-Wan and Kamino is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this in the other discussion, but Obi-Wan does a lot of kicking, and there's a lot of, like, in the Geonosian arena, there's a lot of kicking and, you know, cape flurling and all that. And people forget that that's just another Jedi technique. And I think that the fight between him and Jango and Kamino is really, really good. It's got some really comedic moments, you know, where he tethers Obi-Wan, and he's like, oh, not good. And he flies around, you know? I mean, it's great stuff.
I was going to say, it's the first time you actually see a fist fight and seeing someone contend with the Jedi without the lightsaber.
Right.
I was going to say, Boba, I don't hate him.
I didn't like him.
But I don't like him.
Yeah, he's the worst child actor I've seen in a movie. I don't know what that kid sounds like in real life, but, you know, Jango Fett is very much like, I don't even know if I could do the voice, but, you know, he's kind of like a clone where he's like, all right, man, come on, we need to go take out Alpha, you know, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And you have that awesome scene of Obi-Wan going, do you like your army? And he's like, you know, they suffice. And they're having this really tense conversation. Mm-hmm. And then you have this stupid kid like, come on, Dad, let's go! I'm like, oh my God. You know, I can't stand the kid's voice. And when they're shooting in the Slave One and, you know, Obi-Wan's dodging the asteroids, stupid Boba is like, get him, Dad, get him, yeah! I'm like, he sounds like Marge.
Oh my God.
You know, I'm just like, hug me! You know, the whole time. It's just like, why would you... It just doesn't sound good. You know, his acting's trash, and then he sounds like he's a chain smoker. It's like, what's wrong with this kid, you know?
I don't know. I mean, he eventually becomes this awesome bounty hunter, but before that, he's this annoying little kid.
Exactly, yeah. And that's the one moment, the biggest moment in Attack of the Clones where I cringed. Boba Fett. Now, the second part I cringe, let's see how you think. We're going to switch a bit of ahead to the end of Attack of the Clones. The fight scene between Anakin and Count Dooku. If you remember, there's a scene when Count Dooku cuts a power cable and the lights go out. Mm-hmm. And I think I mentioned this in my Attack of the Clones review, but I don't know if the camera could pick this up, but, like, this is the lightsaber, right? You know Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob?
Yes.
You know how Sandy, like, goes like this with their lasso? That's what they looked like they were doing. It looked completely mental. If you know what I'm talking about, that scene?
Yeah, I know the exact scene.
Yeah, and I love when Yoda fought. I love the fight before that, but the scene when they're doing that, it's just like George Lucas was like, all right, guys, you know, look, do something cool, and we'll fix it with CGI later. And they're just swinging their, you know, twirly sticks. I'm like, what are you doing?
I was gonna say, it's Sir Christopher Lee. The man knows how to fight with a sword. What are they doing with him? Speaking of which, Christopher Lee loved him as Count Dooku.
He was great.
He was, oh my God. Just the voice alone is more than enough to sell it.
Yeah. Yeah, he was cool. And then I think you had a different voice actor in the Clone Wars animated content, but...
I think for the movie it was him, for the TV show it was someone else, but still.
Okay, alright. Yeah, he was great. I think the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan in that movie is really nice, and there are some canon comic books that, you know, kind of further develop it that before this movie, but you can kind of tell in this movie that Anakin is starting to not necessarily turn, but he's starting to question things. You know, why do we not love? Why do we not do this? Why don't we have nightmares? You know, and then after he loses his mom, which is the best scene in the movie for Hayden's acting.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know what it is about Hayden, but he does angry perfect.
Yeah.
Like, when he gets pissed in character, it looks believable. Everything else is kind of mediocre, but that scene, you just see sadness turn to bubbling rage, and he just... When he gives that whole speech of, I murdered all of them, the women, the children, Padme should have run at that point.
Yeah, she's like, oh, fuck this, I'm out. But
no. Oh man. I was gonna say, what do you think
That's
of CGI Yoda? Out of just completely going to a different topic.
I think it looks good. I think that episode one original was a puppet, and then they kind
Yes.
of muddled with it and made him CGI, and that looked okay. But episode two, when he's flipping around and fighting Count Dooku and all that, and you know, I think it looks fine. You know, I really don't have any issues with it. He looks great in episode three,
Oh no, he looks amazing in episode 3.
but episode two, he looks good. I don't think there's much to complain about there.
I was gonna say, episode 2. It's like it has some of the most amazing moments. I mean, the Geonosis battle, the Yoda finally revealing that, hey, I can fight with a lightsaber. Jango Fett, some of the clones, pretty decent. But then again, you have the love scenes, the awkward acting, the pacing being really bad. So, out of the entire prequel trilogy, that one's hands down my least favorite.
Mm-hmm. But one more thing on Attack of the Clones. It was funny because in the beginning, there's a scene when they're chasing Zam Wessel or Wessel in that the Skuru District Coruscant speeder, and I really liked when you kind of feel that Obi-Wan doesn't like to fly, and Anakin's just screwing with him. He's like going down, and he's like Anakin, he's flipping around. He's like I hate it when he does that, and he jumps out. I mean, you have good chemistry between these two guys in a lot of scenes. But going on to the whole of episode 2, it's my least favorite. You said it's your least favorite.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. It has great scenes.
Yeah.
The fight scenes are great. The Camino, the start of the clones are great. It's a very pivotal moment. They even have one of the Geonosian guys having the Death Star plans.
Yeah, which that caught me off guard for a second. When I first saw that, I thought, that looks kind of like, well, that's no moon.
Yeah, right. Because it was funny. I've seen that movie 100 times, and then I just got my glasses maybe a year or so ago, and I rewatched this movie, and I swear to God, it's like watching this in HD. I'm seeing everything in HD now, and I saw Attack of the Clones, with my actual good eyes, and I saw the Death Star. I never noticed that before, and I swear to God, I saw the Death Star, and I went, "Oh my God!" I flipped out because I never saw it with my glasses off, and it was really cool because it opened my eyes. I'm like, "Oh, that's." It's not just there for eye candy. That's a good pivotal moment.
Yeah, that's them literally taking the plans and going, okay, here, take it, get it out of here before anyone notices.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I think the big thing to take away from episode 2 is the Clone Wars content. Now let's move into the Clone Wars movie. What'd you think about that?
Believe it or not, I've never actually seen it from top to bottom. I've only seen enough of it to get the gist of it. It introduces Ahsoka Tano, which... her character, when I first saw her, I went, okay, what are they possibly going to get? And it gives almost like Anakin actually having to almost be the parent in this situation instead of the child.
Mm-hmm.
It also
there's a sizable time gap between episode 2 and the Clone Wars movie. Because really, in the end of episode 2, Anakin's still a Padawan, and in the beginning of the Clone Wars movie, he's still a Padawan, but he's able to take on his own Padawan, So I like that they did that, and he's a little bit more mature. He doesn't, bitch about every little thing. So it really is cool that when he gets Ahsoka, everyone, I think, I saw that in theaters, that was 2008. I remember everyone hating Ahsoka. They're like, oh, she sucks. I always liked Ahsoka. I thought that, she played the part of a teenage girl like a teenage girl would act. But seeing her grow is really a cool thing.
I was going to say, I liked her better once you got into the TV series and you kind of flushed her out more as the character development came forward. It was like, initially it's like, okay, it's a teenage girl. And at the time, it's like, every teenage girl is, entertaining.
Sky Guy.
Yeah, Sky Guy, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like,
But the Clone Wars movie did a lot of great things, including great action scenes, pretty good animation. It's not as good as the show, but the movie had good animation. Asajj Ventress.
Loved the introduction of Asajj Ventress. The other thing I love, and I know this will go from the movie to the TV series, was giving the clones an identity more than just, hey, here's a bunch of people wearing white armor on screen and they're going to go die.
Right. In the Clone Wars movie and the Attack of the Clones, it was more like droids. And then there are literal episodes in the Clone Wars show devoted to them trying to tell their superior officers, like you said, we're not just numbers. We are, but we all have different personalities.
Yeah. Like, you had Rex, you had Cody, you had... Oh, God. What's the old one's name? The one that, never passed... I'm thinking
99,
of
I think.
99, yeah. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think, I was like, it's not that other 9 thing.
Yeah.
I was like, 70...
69.
69.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Glenn made a 69 set.
Yeah.
Ready to fuck. I mean, fight.
Oh, another meme on its way.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm on a roll.
All right.
I'm on a roll.
So let's dig into the TV series. I think the TV series, just like with Rebels, I don't know what it is with Star Wars and the TV series, but they always start off really slow and sometimes even a little too childish for my taste, and eventually it gets dark. It gets, the plot gets better, the characters get better, the decisions, everything just... Eventually you're watching it and going, this is a kid show? I just watched Darth Maul behead 5 people and tell Kenobi he's going to kill more until he shows up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of the misconception, and that really has to go with certain parents out there. I think you know how I feel. I don't think Star Wars is for kids. I think that, it is rated PG, so a 10-year-old could watch it, but
Yeah.
I think that the Clone Wars show, like you said, the first season is a little slow. They have to take things year by year, but I think that it definitely is not a kid show. And even Rebels, like you start Rebels and you're like, okay, it's not like Dora or something on PBS Kids, but
Yeah.
it's not super Clone Warsy, and then you're like, oh damn, it is. And even with the Mandalorian's a great show, but even Resistance, have you seen that one yet?
I keep forgetting to watch it.
Okay.
I think I watched part of it, but it's...
Okay. Do you have Disney Plus?
Yes.
Okay, well, it's on there. If you ever have time to watch it, the first season's on there. But that one really looks like a kid show, and trust me, it's not. Just because it looks really kiddie. The animation.
Yeah, I was going to say, the animation, I think we discussed that once, that it kind of reminds me of that Iron Man TV show on Nickelodeon, if you remember that. And I remember that being a dud, and I kind of, put that 2 and 2 together and went, maybe I should, steer clear of it until I hear something.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I don't know, but yeah, Clone Wars show was great and introduced new characters, new story arcs. And for everyone who didn't see the end of Clone Wars season 7 is coming out February 17th, I believe, this year on Disney Plus.
I think so. You know me.
So that's gonna be awesome.
You know me. Once that season's done, we'll both be right here doing this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the end of Clone Wars is very pivotal to Anakin. We see different story arcs with him, but the end where he has to let Ahsoka go, that is the final step. He had to let the Jedi force him around. He had to let his mom die. Padme didn't die yet, but he's starting to get feelings. He had to let Ahsoka go. So all of this is really just, great character development for Anakin. Because now that I've seen 1, 2, and then the Clone Wars content, and then 3, it's more believable that he turns evil. It's not just, I'm evil because my mom died, and I want to save Padme.
He's been
evil
through hell.
Right, yeah. So it's really good stuff. And there's a reason why people think the Clone Wars show is the best show so far. It really is well made.
Yeah. At this point, you can't really watch 2 and then 3 without watching the Clone Wars because it doesn't make sense now.
Right,
It really
it's so
doesn't.
pivotal. Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious to see what season 7's going to bring, because
Yeah.
I have a feeling they're going to end it right near episode 3 to really, okay, here's all the holes, here's what happens.
It should, because this is going to be apparently the final season, so... and the thing that comes right after it is episode 3, so I think they're going to do some really cool stuff with it, and I think it's on... It might be on Netflix and Disney Plus, I'm not sure, but for sure Disney Plus, but I'm excited.
Oh, you and me both.